You drink it every morning just to survive. But the world's most powerful, legally addictive liquid wasn't invented by some brilliant scientist. It was actually discovered because a bunch of goats ate some weird red berries and got absolutely jacked. Just a confused 9th century guy staring at his flock and screaming, "Why are my goats doing parkour?" Welcome to Fascinating Facts. Today we are looking at the insane true story of coffee. Imagine the 9th century. No espresso, no cold brews, no overpriced caramel macchiatos. Life was incredibly bleak. If you needed energy to go farm dirt or fight a local warlord, your only options were staring directly at the sun or splashing freezing river water directly into your eyeballs. In fact, in many parts of the world, people were literally drinking weak, chunky beer for breakfast just to get enough calories to function. Good morning, son. Drink your breakfast ale, grab your spear, and try not to accidentally stab the family cow again. Yeah, humanity was just perpetually tired and mildly intoxicated. It was a complete disaster. Over in the Ethiopian highlands, the local tribes were just trying to survive. They were tough, hardened survivalists. But then there was Kaldi. Kaldi was a goat herder. He had exactly one job: watch the goats. Do not lose the goats. But Kaldi was so tired. Every morning he would cry literal waterfalls of tears, just trying to keep his heavy eyes open. He was just a sleepy boy who wanted to take a nap in a nice soft bush. He thought it was going to be another incredibly boring, exhausting Tuesday, but his goats were about to completely rewire human history. So Kaldi wakes up from a little nap, wipes the drool off his chin, and realizes his flock is gone. He panics. He scrambles over the rocky hills, expecting to find a bunch of dead, eaten goats. But instead, he finds them having a full-blown, high-energy rave. They are bouncing off the rocks, doing backflips, and furiously chewing on some weird, bright red berries from a nearby bush. Kaldi stares at them. He thinks about it. And then he does what any logical 9th century peasant would do when faced with potentially cursed demon fruit. He eats a handful. Suddenly, Kaldi's pupils dilate. His heart rate skyrockets. He can see sounds. He can taste time. "I have the power of 1,000 suns!" he screams, probably. He grabs a pocketful of these magic berries and sprints at top speed to the local monastery. The head monk takes one look at this twitching, hyperactive goat herder and immediately declares the berries to be the absolute, undeniable work of the devil. "Dude." "Uncool," Kaldi mutters. The monk aggressively yeets the handful of berries straight into a blazing fire. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Because a few minutes later, a smell fills the room. A dark, rich, incredibly intoxicating roasted aroma. The monk stops. Kaldi stops. They look at the fire. They quickly scrape the burnt beans out of the hot ashes, crush them up, and throw them into some hot water because, well, they didn't really have a better plan. They take a sip. And human productivity is officially born. Word of the magic stay-awake beans spread like wildfire. Soon, massive coffee houses were popping up all over the Middle East. People were staying up all night, playing chess and, worst of all, discussing politics. This enraged the local governors, who punished them severely. In Mecca, the governor saw peasants having intellectual conversations instead of blindly obeying him, and completely lost his mind. "Oh no, they are thinking for themselves!" he screamed, crying literal waterfalls onto his fancy robes. He rage quit the concept of fun and completely banned coffee. He actually sent guards to confiscate and burn everyone's roasted beans. "Bro, uncool," said literally everyone, as they just continued to drink it in secret anyway. Then the magical bean reached Europe. The local priests were terrified. They called it the bitter invention of Satan and begged Pope Clement VIII to ban it forever. The Pope dramatically picked up a steaming cup, prepared to condemn it to hell. But then he took a tiny sip. He looked at the priests, looked at the cup, and realized it was an absolute banger. So instead of banning it, he just baptized the coffee. Checkmate. Once the Pope officially gave coffee the holy thumbs up, It was game over. The bean took over the planet. Instead of starting the day with warm, chunky beer, humanity was suddenly hyped up on liquid anxiety. We stopped passing out in the mud and started building factories, writing philosophies, and accidentally inventing the modern corporate 9-to-5 grind. So yeah, you can thank a hyperactive Ethiopian goat for your Monday morning spreadsheet deadlines. It just goes to show that human history isn't driven by brilliant minds with master plans. We literally only conquer the world because someone, somewhere, makes a completely ridiculous mistake, and it happens to taste amazing. If you want to discover the insane origins of more things you use every day, subscribe to Fascinating Facts.